Hello friends, and welcome to another video. Welcome to part 2 of this Q&A. It's Thursday, August 16th, and I'm gonna try to get this video up for you guys in the next couple days. And this is just going to be a continuation of my last Q&A, so if you have not watched that, definitely watch it. But I posted on my story one of those ask me a question things, and I'm screenshotted all the questions that I got. And if I'm being totally honest, I don't even remember all of the questions that I answered, but I'm just gonna answer the ones that I think are fun or helpful and see how far we get. I don't want this to be a million years long because I know Q&As can get a little bit boring, but I don't know if you guys can notice, it's kind of messy right now because I was driving with my windows down, but I got hair extensions, so show you guys is what they look like. And it's not crazy longer, it is longer, but I mostly got it just because I wanted my hair to be fuller. I have very like thin, fine hair. I honestly feel like I have like 10 more pounds of hair, but I'm obsessed with it. Anyways, let's start with questions. Grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So I'm in the US, so I have to do per pound. I guess I can convert it and I'll put it on the screen, but it really depends on the person. Some people do better on higher protein. Some people do better on less protein. What I say is like a good standard is 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's kind of like the bodybuilder standard. Now what I will say is for individuals who are a bit overweight, you do less than that. For leaner individuals or people who are dieting, you typically do a bit higher than that. Do you use protein powder after you work out, or do you eat a big meal like rice or chicken? So if you guys watch my full day of eating videos, you know I eat a meal after because I train at night, so then I just come home and eat dinner. I've honestly never been a protein shake person. Like even if I need to just have a snack or something on the go, I rarely have just like a protein shake. I'd rather eat my protein, to be quite honest. What are my top 3 meals and where do I get my meal ideas? Okay, so most of my meal ideas, sometimes I'll find them on like random people's stories on Instagram or whatever. And then usually I end up like tweaking little things here and there to make them like my meals, and then they become my favorite and I just eat them until I can't eat them anymore. My favorite meals of like all time, so my cream of rice with eggs, fruit, and almond butter, like a whole egg, fruit, and almond butter. And I'm saying these are like my like me meals, not like restaurant meals or anything like that. So cream of rice, my rice, ground beef, avocado with a whole egg, and pancakes. So, yeah, okay. How old am I? I am 23. I will be 24 in like 2 weeks. Go-to foods during a bulk when you weren't hungry but still had macros to hit. So, key here is carbs that are very simple and low in fiber. I would say like if you are stuffed and you have more carbs to eat, put honey on everything. But like carb-y sauces, bananas are super easy to get down. Rice cakes, I know they're not super high carb, but like the caramel and chocolate ones are like 12 carbs, and like I literally could eat 2 bags of rice cakes and not get full, and then they're just like a vessel for like a ton of peanut butter or whatever. So that is a lifesaver. Another thing I have done sometimes is just make like a smoothie or a shake, and you can put like peanut butter, protein powder, like whatever, and it's just like in a condensed little glass. That's usually pretty easy to get in just because it's like there's, you can just use like a lot of peanut butter, oil, avocado, whole eggs. But I think that there's little things that people forget you can switch out when you're moving from cutting to bulking. 20 grams of carbs is like this much rice. You know what I mean? So I think switching over from like oats to cream of rice is something that really helps just because of the lower fiber content. Using white rice or jasmine rice is like a main carb source shouldn't fill you up as much as using like brown rice or potatoes or things like that. Whole eggs instead of egg whites, fattier meat, things like that. And I think just aiming to like keep fiber a bit lower can really help. How do you know when a reverse diet is necessary for a client who's been inconsistent with tracking or has never tracked? So typically what I'll do is I talk to all of my potential clients on the phone. So usually I can get a sense of where they're at, and a lot of people, they're like, I know I've been under eating. Usually people are pretty aware of that. But I always, when I get started with someone, send them a form that they fill out with like a ton of background information. And if people haven't tracked macros, I'll ask them like what a typical day of eating looks like. And or we'll use the first week to just kind of eat how they would normally eat, but track it, if that makes sense. So then I can see, and if their intake is low, then we would reverse diet. A majority of the people who come to me, we need to reverse diet first. Do I think my period will go away because of prep? I'm not sure. I haven't lost it yet. The last couple times I got it, it was very, very light. I'm sorry if that's TMI. I might lose it, and if I do, then that's what a good off season is for getting it back. And I think a lot of the issue is when you lose your period for a long period of time, like someone who's struggled with under eating and over exercising, it's a lot harder to get it back than just something that's like short and temporary. So who knows? Have I ever thought about breast augmentation? I honestly saw this when I was doing my last Q&A, and I thought about answering it, and then I was like, I really don't owe anyone any explanation, and it's not something that I've really decided if I want to talk about, but we're deciding right now to talk about it. So yes, I have thought about it. I was actually going to get a breast augmentation earlier this spring. I have already paid for my breast augmentation, and the reason I didn't do it is because after talking with my coach, I decided to start prep in June, and my breast augmentation was going to be the beginning of May. And basically, with the recovery time, which the doctor I'm going with, it's supposed to only be a month until I have no restrictions in the gym. But that being said, a lot of times it takes longer to truly have no restrictions. So taking a month out of my growing phase that I really needed to use to grow, not training, having to bring food down, it wouldn't have left us in a good spot to start prep, right? We would have had to push back my start of prep like a lot because we would have had to get my food back up, get me back in the gym, build up muscle tissue, all of that kind of stuff. So I decided I'm going to do it after my shows. The plan right now is later this year, but it could be early next year. I'm not like in a huge rush to do it. It's just something that I have wanted to do literally since I was like in high school. If you haven't noticed, I'm not too blessed up in this department, and like in middle school I would get those like Target kids bras because I was so flat, and I was like, it kind of makes me look like I have something, and like all through high school I would wear like big bras so it like looked like I had boobs. Obviously now I just embrace it, but it's something that like obviously because I was gonna get my breast augmentation before I even competed, it's not competition based at all. It's just I told myself that when I could afford it, I was going to do it for myself, and I just want to feel feminine. I want to fit in clothes better, and I'm just gonna say right now, I'm not getting like huge knockers. I just want something, and I don't want it to be like Lexi walks in the room like, oh, she got her boobs done. But it is something that I have wanted to do for myself for a really long time. And so I kind of jumped the gun, and when I went to different consults and stuff like that, I was like, heck yeah, I just want to do it, like let's go. And then it just like didn't make sense with the timing, and so for me now it's something that I'm doing for me, not for competing. And so I was like, I'm just gonna wait till after this season and then do it. So you guys know, I haven't decided if I'm gonna document it just because I feel like there's so many like breast augmentation series and stuff like that. So I'm like, it like is what it is. You get them done, you chill, and then you're like normal, you know? But we'll see. Let me know if you want me to document that, and I will. Like, I don't hide anything. It just, I don't know. It's whatever. How do you know if you're training hard enough? So I answer so many like DMs, emails, client questions and stuff about this. And I'm gonna try to keep this super short because I've even done like a video with my clients. I've done like a Facebook Live about how to gauge your training intensity. And it was like 30, 45 minutes long. What I will say is you can't gauge your training intensity off like how much you're sweating, how sore you are the next day. Definitely not, because if you are sticking to a lifting program, you're not gonna be sore all the time, especially as your body gets used to recovering and repairing after those training sessions. But it's all about how hard you are pushing when you are in there. So those last few reps that you do should be a freaking grind. If your training program says 3 sets of 15 and you're just like lifting those 15-pound dumbbells, because if you go to 20s, you can't get all the reps, then either add more reps with the 15-pound dumbbells or get less reps with the 20s, but it should be a freaking grind, those last few reps. That's what I would kind of say as a short answer. Any tips for someone competing for the first time? There's so much, and I'm gonna make a whole video kind of about my first prep and things I learned and things I would say to people going into it. I would say for anyone, first of all, thinking about starting a prep, be in a good spot financially, because I can already tell you I'm like a little bit more than halfway through and it's expensive. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of energy, right? So when you're deep in a prep, like I do not have a lot of energy, right? And you're drained a lot. So I would say make sure when you're going into a prep that you're kind of like aware of those things. I would say the other like little thing is make sure you're practicing posing a lot. Just because, especially if you're competing for the first time, it's like all new and it's really awkward, and the last thing you want is to get on stage and feel awkward. Practice in your heels, because it is 100% different than if you are practicing in like sneakers or something. Like 100% different, 20 times harder. I would say make sure you have a coach who you really, really trust and love, and I even think it's really important to have worked with them previously so that they know how your body works going into a prep. Ultimately, just I guess like be prepared and like know that you're gonna be like very low energy, especially towards the end, and it takes a lot of time. Just like a lot goes into it, so just like be ready for that, you know? Yeah. What's your next goal in life? Over the past year, my life has changed so much, right? And I think I probably say that like every single year, but if I looked at where I am now, or someone told me a year ago that I would be where I am now, I don't even think I would have believed them. I would have been like, what? I would have been like, that's insane. And just from graduating from college to working a 9-to-5 job to working for myself, and like having my own business, you know, like that's a lot of change, and I've begun to just like thrive off of constant change and constant growth and feeling uncomfortable. And right now, like obviously like prep is that thing that is really pushing me, and business wise I'm just kind of like in a groove and I love what I do so much. But I think my next goal is obviously just to create something bigger, and that is something like, I mean, I'm talking like business related, and I don't know if that is starting another business or brand that isn't Lexi DM Fitness. This will always continue because I love it, or if that is growing what I already have. But I do know that even like when I decided to quit my job and become a full-time online coach, that was something that like hit me in the face, and it was like I need to be an entrepreneur, and it hit me, and I have a lot of ideas in the back of my head, but I'm kind of waiting for something to really feel right, because I know from experience that I can only fully invest myself in something that I like 100% believe in. So I guess my goal to answer that is just to create something bigger. And I think a big part of me also knows that like Instagram might not be around forever. YouTube might not be around forever. When I'm like 35 and have a family and a million other things going on, like the way I live my life and my business probably isn't something that is like going to be possible. I'm not in like a huge rush or anything like that, but I definitely want to like create something bigger, if that makes sense. How do you stay on track with your diet? Honestly, first and foremost, I eat things that I really enjoy. For me, flexible dieting works because if I want something, I can usually make it fit. Not on prep because my macros are pretty low, but typically like when I am maintaining or growing, like I can make things that I want fit. Now even on prep, I make things that I look forward to eating and that I enjoy, and for me that works. For some people it might be a meal plan because they like having it structured and laid out in front of them. For some people it might be intuitive eating, whatever. But I say find something that works for you. For me, flexible dieting works. And then the other thing is just realizing, like especially in prep and on a diet, realizing that like the food is always going to be there. And I think the main thing for me right now, and I'm gonna try to say this in the like best way I can, but food is just food, and it is there to help me reach my goals. And this is like purely from like a prep standpoint, and I think I've been someone where like every meal had to be something I was like super like pumped about eating, and it was perfect. Like even if I like messed up the egg that was supposed to go on my oatmeal, I was like, I need to like remake it so it's like perfect, right? And for me, I think just kind of like detaching that like emotional piece from eating helps me right now, and just like, this is my food, I am eating it, now I am done. That is the end. And that probably sounds bad because I think food is meant to bring pleasure and it's meant to be enjoyed. And like I said, I do really enjoy my food. But for me, if I get very caught up in like, oh my gosh, I have to feel super satisfied after this meal, I never feel satisfied at this point. So just kind of using it as like, I am eating because this is my meal, and my next meal will be there when it is time to eat it, if that makes sense. So, okay, this is going to be my last question. Post-show meal, what do you want? I feel like it's way too early to say that, but right now, I know it's either gonna be a burger and sweet potato fries or sushi. And then it's going to be a gluten-free Pizookie, probably. But that could change. But yeah, I literally want to go to like 2 different restaurants. Yep. I feel like I was just recording for like 5 hours, so I'm sorry if this was really long. But I did just want to finish out the Q&A. I really like doing these because I obviously want to put out as much valuable information as I can. And so for me, when I'm like, I'm literally answering what you want to know, it's like a win-win for both of us, you know? But I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, comment, share, like, subscribe, hit the little bell, that I'm always gonna do this because I don't know what side it's on. And I will see you guys in the next one. I'll be vlogging this weekend. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Catch you on the flip side.